Okay. I think that we are live. Let me just check. My internet is a bit slow this morning, so I think that it should be running. Yes, let me just check real quick here. Perfect. We are live. Welcome to this morning, Monday Doodle. And this video will be one where I talk a bit about what I consider a breakthrough in the process of creating the illustrations for the children's book called Me and My Monster, which will be published here in Denmark next year, January 2025. So there's plenty of time. But again, is there really? I think there's not so much time as I would like to, but I will for sure be making it. But what has really been on my mind in the work of this book is that I have been struggling to find a style. When doing Can Alpha Come Out to Play, I think that it was a bit different style than what I'm doing now. Can Alpha Come Out to Play was more like more simple line work, and it had characters that are animals in it. For this one, Me and My Monster, I had to create characters being human beings. So it's a bit different. So what I would like to first of all show you guys is how I think the style is going to be in this book. So let's just show it right now. So this is a spread that I have been really struggling with, and for those of you who watched the last Monday Doodle I did, I can just show you the first try that I did last Monday, what I came up with, and I was not satisfied with it. I could just feel, as soon as I finished the Monday Doodle, I felt that I wasn't happy with it. Not only the composition, but also sort of the way the characters are viewed. So I was struggling with, we had to see Ellen, the character over here, on one spread, and the father on a different spread. So here I tried to show her from this viewing angle, and then the dad from straight on. But I think I've solved it now, so that I show Ellen over here in sort of a vignette style, sort of like creating kind of like a comic book-esque way of telling stories. A vignette for her, and notice I did not make a box for it. You could do that, but this is kind of an elegant way of doing it. I think I've also noticed that other children's books do this, like a flossy edge here, and then this curve here is actually just the curve of the monster. I basically just took her away, because before she was down here and the monster was overlapping, but that kind of confused the viewer because it made the position of them in the car seem odd, because they are in the same car. The girl and the dad is in the same car. So I think I solved it in an elegant way, and I feel happy about it. And not only that, also I think the style is what I really like. So if you take a look at the line work here, it's actually just a process of me sketching. You see already here this kind of sketchy feel of it. So this is actually what I've just continuated in the process. I think she maybe need a bit more cleaning up. You see here, I think here on the seat, for instance, and also I'm gonna erase the line here. This is just my construction lines. I'll also erase those. But other than that, I think I'm gonna keep kind of the sketchy feel of it, and the way that the outline is broken, like not a continuous line necessarily, but kind of like more free, so to speak. And this is, I think, because I've been using this Wacom here and I've been more confident with drawing on it, so I use my arm way more to do the strokes. And then the colors are watercolors, digital also here in Photoshop, so I think it works nicely. And there's a lot of, not a lot, but there are scenes in this book with snow, in them. So I think that the watercolor really works for the snow. So so that was this kind of the breakthrough. Let's celebrate that the style is kind of locked. I hope so. I'm gonna show it to the publishers in, what is it now, a week? Yikes. So I really hope that the publishers and the writer, of course, are happy with the style, so I can just keep continuing working in that style, because otherwise it will be a tough one for me to swallow if I gotta come up with something new. Once the style is secured, I can go ahead and work on all spreads. I want to celebrate by having a sip of this beautiful coffee here, and cheers to you also out there, and thank you for tuning in. I'm wondering where people are watching from in the world. Could be interesting to hear in the comments. So that was the breakthrough, and now I'd like to work on a spread. It's spread 3, and you can see here, did a bit of preparation. I already have my sketch here. I did this in my sketchbook one day, and this is one of the times where you just get so thrilled because you draw something in your sketchbook, and then you just feel like you have something that could be a possible spread. So Ellen, the character here, which you already know now, is sitting next to her monster. It's a scene where they are looking at each other and kind of in a mutual happiness, sort of. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the outline for this scene. I'm gonna call this one outline, and then the sketchbook sheet, I just lower the opacity like this. I'm gonna go ahead and find my brush, which is one that I use here. It's called Scratchy Nip Tailed, to those of you who are curious, and 30 pixels is all right, I think. I can always alter it a bit. And that was the kitchen. And I'm just gonna go ahead and open up my palette. I have it somewhere here. Yes, this is these are some of the colors I work with. I'm gonna go ahead and eyedrop this color here. It's a black with kind of like green tones in it, as you can see over here. So I think it works to kind of break your black color, so it's just not pure black, because something happens, it becomes a bit more visual compelling if it's not like completely pitch black. Okay, we will start here at the hair. And in this scene, I think she's wearing kind of like headphones. Of course, I could have made this sketch here more elaborate before doing the outline. But also sometimes I think it's nice to work with what you have and just see what comes up with it. I gotta design a lot along the way here, but I think it's okay. Yeah, hair goes up like this. Her haircut has become more dynamic also, since like I think it's a year now ago since I did the first characters drawing of Ellen here, and I can just show you real quick how that looked. Maybe I don't have it. I don't think I have it, do I? Yeah, this is a spread for the which is going to work out for the cover. So she's changed a bit, which I like. Is what happens sometimes when you draw something over and over, it just naturally evolutionizes. And then this is a new one. Just kind of drew her from different angles. So you can see here, she's also a bit different from this one over here. This is one I gotta stick to. Okay, so I noticed that eyebrows are pretty large. Eyes should be a bit closer. And nose is like and eyes are a bit more squarish. Let's just see how that looks. Looks okay, I think. Then she's got this thing here wrapped around her neck. This is something I feel like when you're going on a vacation as a kid, you could have this one around your neck, kind of resting. I do recall that we had those when I was a kid. I don't know if anyone ever uses these. But to me, it's a very nostalgic thing, so I figured that should be in there. So her shirt, I haven't really designed it yet. I just think it's some kind of like a jumper, a knitted jumper or something like that. And she should have her arms crossed. Let's just see. Perhaps. And then her back. I try to draw through her now the back, so I kind of get the volume of her. And then and again, some would probably also would have made a more elaborate sort of skeleton for her, kind of like to show the volume, but I figured I wanted to show you this process of working with the line work. So that will be something interesting for you guys. And then the other knee. seat belt. Coming down behind there. I don't know if you can hear it, but the apartment above us are renovating their kitchen, so that's nice with a bit of background noise, right? In my little studio here. Truth be told, I wish I had a studio, but I simply can't afford it. So, yeah. One day. And then should there be a wire down from this headphone? Maybe I will make a wire down. Okay, so before continuing, you can see here the arm is not finished. Like the way it's crossing over, it looks more as if she's giving herself a hug. So definitely got to change that later on. But before continuing, I'd like to add in the text of the book, because that will determine where I should put the text, and eventually where I should put the monster. So I'll just quickly find the text. Copy. Add a new layer called text. And here. $18 pixels. Why is that so small? Make it larger somehow. Inkscape. Properties, what are you? Excuse me for a minute here, I'm a bit tired today, so I can't really find things. God. There we have it. Inkscape, so I gotta tweak this one. Right. Okay. Someone is like sawing like a crazy. And to my international viewers, I can just read aloud here for this spread. So it says, Frank is my monster and my best friend. He can make anyone scared, and then they leave me be or do as I say. Frank can take all kinds of skikkelser. Frank can look in many possible ways. He's very inventive, but I am the only one who can see him, and that's probably very good. So here you can see we have a design solution to solve, because the text should be readable, and right now the seats will be interfering with the viewing space of the text. So what I do, either I make the seats go behind here, like under it. Could I do that? That's an option actually, but I really like the way the space projected up this way. Or I should have the seats go up here and then have the text in white instead. I also have some space down here to put the text, but I don't think I can fit it there. So there you see, that's one of the challenges you have as an illustrator sometimes. could also be just graphical designer. Many times I ask my good friend Rasmus, who, shout out Rasmus, he's a graphic designer and he has the most amazing way of looking at harmony and composition and like solving design problems. And this is one of the things where I could ask him of advice, and I also did that last night actually, because when working with the spread I showed you earlier on with the vignette. But let's just try and see if we can fix this. Middle seat here. And then we have the seat where Frank is sitting. Good old Frank. Yeah, that would work. That would work. I also had an idea of having things for the vacations popping up behind the seats here. Like you could have like a skiing stuff popping up here. I could still do that actually. But for now, I think this is the way I'd have the text be, because I think it's quite harmonic and it's close to them, and it could work. It could work. So we have kind of like negative space down here and here. And then you get something down here. So, time for Frank. And I just need to get my sketchbook real quick. Just a second. Those who watch my channel and watch my sketchbook tours will know that I'm very fond of keeping sketchbook on me always, also on the go when I'm out and about, because sometimes you just get an idea that you have to scribble down. And also observational drawing is what I really like. And it happens magically sometimes that you do a doodle that just fits a project perfectly. And you do something because you are less reliable, or you're less kind of, what do you call it, informal in your sketchbook. Well, I am. So you make something that's kind of free, you make something that's very personal, sometimes out of the blue, and then that just has the perfect tone for whatever you're doing. I think it really liberates you. Here I have a good sketch, for instance, for one of the later scenes where Frank kind of strangles Ellen. No, sorry, not Ellen. Frank strangles the dad. And these are some sketches for the monster's head. And I like this one particularly. I think I'll try to see if I can make him go up there. We will see if that's possible. Coffee. So I'm just gonna put him over here so you can see if that's even possible. Is that possible? Yeah, I think so. Okay, so this guy in there. Let's go. I like the idea of him being very big, so he can't fit the car probably, so maybe his face goes like outside of the frame. Well, then I have to sacrifice the ears actually. That's not really what I like. So yeah, drawing a monster. How do you draw a monster also? He could be mimicking Ellen's gesture. So kind of like arms over cross. What I realized though in these Monday duels, I've reflected a bit on the format, and whenever I do these things where I have to invent something, I think that I become, well, not so good in my drawing because I become kind of conscious that people are watching, so I gotta like perform. So I think that I draw better once the camera is like kind of like shut, because I can also sit in my weird positions and I kind of like, I don't think too much about it. But I gotta admit that the camera being recording and all being live to the whole wide world is something that makes things less free. So that's something that I gotta be a bit aware of. At the same time, it feels nice to be able to share the process with you. And right now I'm in doubt whether the should be the feet like pointing outwards like this. Oops. Wrong layer. Cool. Hello, Tomorrow Kiddo. Your own project in Australia. Are you also an illustrator? Or what kind of things do you work with? I want to skip the neck out, actually. Author, illustrator working on a series of children's book. Oh, that's cool. Awesome. So did you both write, and are you also the author of the book that you're working on right now, or? Both, yes. Yeah, okay, cool. And what age do you are the series written to? I mean, I know that children's book can be read by many different ages, but is there like a somewhat of a target group or like readers group that you write to for this series? I don't know if this pattern here on the monster will be there in the end of this, because maybe it looks a bit too much like a tiger. Also, I think it gives it a lot of character. The series become increasingly complex, so 3 to 4, 5 through to 8. Okay, wow. And also, what genre is it, or like, is there a genre, or is it like an everyday story, or? I'd like to do a bit on the eyes here, make him look more like monsterish. Contemporary fiction based on relatable activities. Okay, cool. He looks a bit surprised right now, and he shouldn't be looking surprised at Ellen. Why is that? I think it's because I need to relax those eyebrows a bit and maybe make him smile a bit more. Gave him a bit of a chin there. I'm not too sure I'm happy about it, but something with the eyes, not really. Nope. Small eyes. You can just really experiment with these things for ages. But I don't know, maybe there's something in my sketchbook that could provide me with something. There's also this one. The grandpa I'm working on at the moment is friendly. I'm working this design out in watercolors, but they're all puppets and miniatures that are photographs. Ah, okay. That's an interesting way to make it. That's kind of funny because I have considered making one of the characters in clay, and then I could kind of draw them using that clay as a reference. That's kind of like the opposite way of what you're doing. So you would sketch them first and then model them. That's funny. It sounds like a really interesting approach. I think I have seen one children's book before where so nice watching someone making art. Yeah, nice. Yeah. It also feels nice to, we're kind of like in the same boat, so that's cool. Yeah, I saw one children's book once that were kind of puppets also, I think, and then photographed, or was it puppets? But it's a kind of an unusual thing. Like, it's not something you see on the shelves so much. So it's kind of like unique way of doing it. maybe if I make his eyes bigger, and I could also have the pupils be like white instead of black, so that maybe makes him a bit more monster. Like I do have a spread where I did that. Let's just check that out. One where he is like that one. Yeah, here the pupils are yellow. I almost forgot. And here, of course, he's in spider. So I could make the pupils yellow. I totally forgot that I did that once. So if they are yellow, and then I just gotta make his pupils go in here, kind of eye direction. And what I'm also very cautious about right now is not making the monster look as if he wants to eat her. I want to make him look at her in a friendly way, which is a fine balance. So pupils, Frank, there we go. Just take this yellow and color in his pupils. See here. Maybe also the nose. Why not? No, not the nose. I think that could work. Just right now, he doesn't look as large as what I wanted him to look. Maybe I could just cheat real quick and make Ellen a bit tinier. This is the genius thing about Photoshop. Imagine if I had been drawing all this like analog, I'd had to really redraw her and all this stuff. But look at that, just making her a tiny bit smaller. Something happened with his scale. He suddenly becomes way bigger. And I could even make his body a bit bigger. I want to make it seem as if it like fills the whole car. The back seat at least. Maybe even bigger. Like so. And what about the head? Should it be a bit closer then? Something like this. Okay. Should the head be bigger? Not too sure. Yeah, maybe he's sort of more leaning that way. That was better. Maybe, yeah, he's more like resting against the other side of the car now. Seemed a bit more like, so he's comfortable and they're like sharing this moment of trust, so that the reader says, okay, these two are someone who has a certain relationship, and she can always feel comfortable, comforted in his presence. Just gotta make the sheet disappear behind him. Sheet goes down here. And then I really look forward to the coloring process. I want to make these back sheets here in like a grayish thing, and then this dull yellow kind of checky patterns down. Leaning away so he's not scary over her. Yeah, true. That's also a good point. He's just like sitting there, watching her. And I can feel I should practice on my way of drawing people, animals, or people crossing their arms. But this is where my wife will play a part. She's posted for me several times. You would also know this, people who watch my processes. I usually use people to pose for me, so it's way easier. Now the question is, should he have a tail? He could have a tail around her, kind of that, just like touching her arm. Could be kind of cute gesture. Yeah, it could be. So it's kind of out here. A way of underlining that they're good friends. Color Frank test. I think this will be the last thing that I do, just for fun. To now I've worked quite concentrated, so now I just want to make something that's fun, because that's a good way of ending this Monday doodle. You can also see how color in then. So I go to this brush called Watercolor Improved, and I just go a bit up in size, because this is the part where it's also magnificent, magical to just color in like this. If I had the time, I probably would go for going about the coloring an analog way, but I simply don't have the time with 2 kids and an odd job on the side and all that. So, but in the future, I really want to work more in analog ways. Waving or tail being a third character. Could be a possibility, yeah. Actually, we'll see. It might be that the spread here will evolve maybe over time. Yes, so let's just take a look then at the flow here. Just gonna close this down and then open up this one. And just have a little thing here. Yeah, the color of this one page here is just like a broken broken white, so I think I'll just want to pop that in here also to create the harmony. And I don't think this necessarily is going to be that grayish of color, but somehow I just like to break the whiteness of the color. So in sort of a reading rhythm, this would be somehow how it goes. You would move from this spread, and then to this. And of course I got a color in Ellen, the girl here, and so on, also the interior of the car. So bum bum to here. Oh, I forgot the freckles. This is a thing that I added to the design, a couple of freckles on her and also on Frank, again to underline their kind of, because the thing is that Frank is kind of like a symbol of her emotions, so adding in a couple of freckles. The right size here. There we go. So that was a bit of process for one of the first spreads, and a little celebration here this Monday morning in Copenhagen of having found a style, I really hope. So next week, Monday's doodle is probably going to revolve around, I don't know, I'm not sure yet. Maybe something about the color, the cover, sorry, or maybe an entirely different spread. But for sure, it will probably be around, revolve around working on the book here again, Me and My Monster. And so the Tuesday on the 14th of May, there will be the meeting with the publishers. And I might do a video about that where I, not live, but a video where I tell you a bit about the meeting and also showcase some of the drawings, because I'm going to print the spreads out on paper to be able to present something to kind of like say, hello, I've been working on this and I'm proud of it, and let me show you what I got. Yeah, so thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for the conversation, and yeah, have a nice day out there. See you soon. Bye.